Hi everyone, I've got a really interesting video for you today, and as you tell by the title, um, this church is haunted. Now, I haven't come to this church because I know it's haunted. I've come here like a regular visit to any church I do, and I'm not even going to mention the name of the church or where it is, apart from it is in Wales. Now, the main reason for that is like people who live local to here won't like that. It's funny. People think you're lying or sensationalizing, which is one thing I don't do. If I wanted to make this over dramatic, I would change the color to black and white and really build it up. But the truth is, I do know that ghosts exist. It's just very rare to experience them in the broad daylight. And the day I came here, I thought it was all normal. This is just a nice little church, as I usually come across. So I'll explain what happened as we go inside. So it looks nice and bright in here, and that's due to the camera, the iPhone camera, being very good. But it was very dark, and I tried to put the lights on, but they didn't work. And normally on a church like this, I'll try and keep the door open, but it would not let me keep the door open. It kept shutting. So I thought, okay, my eyes will get used to the darkness eventually. So I thought I'd come in, and at the minute I wasn't scared. So the first thing to happen was when I walked past the pews to go towards the altar, a couple of them creaked. Now it was quite loud, as if someone was actually sat on them. And I'll turn the volume up now so you can hopefully hear that. Now, that wasn't the fact that I was walking past and they creaked because of my walking, because the path is actually stone and it's solid. The pews are sat on like their own little wooden bit. It was definitely like the noise of someone sat there moving around. But at this minute, I just carried on. I thought, okay, whatever. It's just a noise. Now, as I said before, I know that ghosts exist because I've experienced them. Yeah, and I've actually physically seen like an old person ghost and a young child, and they've been in the same room as me. As if they were a real person. So I know those times they freaked me out. But this was a bit different. This was, like the essence of something was there, and as the video goes on, I'll explain a bit more, and I start to feel more and more uncomfortable in this church. So by now, my eyes had started to adjust to the darkness. It still wasn't as bright as it looks like in the video, but it was getting a bit easier to see. So I just carried on filming. The font in this church is very unusual, and it's like inside a weird little like wooden framed room. So I had a little walk towards that, and when I went past this last pew again, it creaked, and then I started to realise this is something's going on here. Now, me being me, I kind of just carried on. If I could go back there now, I would have just walked out the church straight away. But I carried on filming, and I started to like after I filmed the font, I walked past this pew, and I knew it was something to do with this last pew. So I started to experiment and walk past it to see if it was me making it creak, which it wasn't. So as you can see, I got a bit fixated on this pew, because normally I'd be walking around just doing, filming everywhere, and it only takes me about 10 minutes, and I get out of the church. I kept going around it. I could just feel that something was there watching me, but nothing really happened as I was concentrating on the pew. So I decided to walk back up towards the altar, and as I did, something touched my hair, like physically touched the back of my hair. So I turned around, and there was no cobwebs or moths flying around. It was definitely a ghost kind of messing with me. And just as that happened, now you're going to have to take my word for this because there's no way of me proving it or showing it, but the whole temperature of the church must have dropped about 10 degrees. It got really cold in there, like instantly. So God knows why I didn't get out of the church now, because it was like really cold, and I was like definitely experiencing a ghost. But I some reason decided to go back up towards the altar and try and keep filming. Now, when I went up to the altar again, I felt really uncomfortable. It was freezing cold, and I didn't like having my back turned against this thing. So I thought, I'm going to get out of here now. And the scary thing was, when I walked past the pew to get out the door, I kept my eyes on it. I wanted to open the door as I was looking at the pew, and all of a sudden, my camera just stopped. It froze and turned off. When I got out of the church and shut the door, behind it, whatever that thing was, started to shake the door. So I quickly got out of that porch and out of the church. Now, it took about 3 or 4 minutes, and my camera went back to normal. My phone started working again, and I stayed in the churchyard. And I took this footage now. This was after I'd been inside that church, and I was sort of like thinking, contemplating what had just happened. Now, for those of you who don't believe me or don't believe in ghosts, I don't really care, because they do exist. And I've been to so many churches, and it doesn't normally happen. It's quite rare. This church is actually closed. It's there's no more services done here, but it's open for the public to come and visit. So my theory is, whatever that thing is inside there does not want it to be open. It doesn't want people visiting. And I would bet all my money that whatever person that was originally is buried underneath that church and is actually trapped there. And that actually makes a lot of sense to me. And I've done plenty of videos on that subject before. So after this experience, I've decided I'm not going to these churches on my own anymore. I'll have to take my wife. It's not that I think ghosts can actually physically hurt you. I don't think they can. I just think it's a lot safer with two people, and I think ghosts are much less likely to appear when there's more than one person. So I hope you enjoyed this little video. Leave me a comment if you've ever experienced ghosts, because I'll be very interested to hear your story. And I'll see you in the next video.